Hello, my dear.
Hello, how are you?
Fab, you look lovely.
Thank you. So do you. It's a real pleasure to have you. Hey guys, so I'm very excited to bring in Liv here, who's an incredible female, and I have got some incredible questions for her because I want to help females be as amazing as what she's been up to. I mean, all the things she's been doing are so good. And I'm very honored to have her on here. So just very quickly, I want to say hi to you, Liv.
Hi, thank you for having me. That was quite an intro, wasn't it?
No, I definitely am going to put more before, so it's absolutely fine. But I just wanted to tell people how you would introduce yourself. So for someone who knows nothing about you, obviously I've followed you, I've seen what you do. You're an incredible female role model. How would you describe what you do to someone who's never heard of you?
I don't never know where to start with that kind of thing. I mean, for me, it all started with football. I was a footballer, and then I discovered freestyle football, which is essentially tricks of a ball using any part of your body and just being creative. I became obsessed with that, went on to become the best in the world at it, achieved my dream of becoming world champion, the youngest ever world champion, in fact.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I broke and still hold 4 current world records. Then from there, I went on to build my commercial career where I went into television presenting. I'm now a primetime TV presenter for Match of the Day X and Football Focus, mainly for the BBC in the sporting world. And I'm a UEFA ambassador and a real estate investor.
Oh my God. See, there you go. Now, why can't women be like you? Like, I mean, for example, like, I think everything you're doing and have done is incredible. Like the football thing, like how on earth did you even start that? Would you say you grew up hanging out with more guys and women? Let's try and start from that point of view. Like from
Yeah,
when you were...
I think women can be as good as men, if not better at anything. And I hope that what I do in the footballing industry can show that. That's like one of my missions. Like I want these young girls coming up to see that, yeah, I'm a girl, but yeah, I'm better than the guys. I'm not just good for a girl, like I'm good, full stop. I don't want to be good for a girl. I'm better. If you can find a guy that wants to come and battle me, happy days, I'll battle him, I'll beat him. That's what we do. And I think we just want to get to a place where we're separating, being good for a girl and being good. I just want to be good and I just want to show that. And I think that's really important. But for me, yeah, it did start growing up with 2 older brothers. There was always a football around the house, whether it was in the living room, breaking lamps, in the garden, or on the street. It was my whole life. And for me, I never saw a difference. I never thought, oh, because I'm a girl, I can't. My brothers were always quite encouraging, like if they were playing football. Yeah, some days they didn't want me to play because I was the younger sibling. I was like 4 years younger.
Yeah.
So I just cry until I could play with them.
So I love that. So that's got a similarity to any female that I've seen that it really takes on a man's world. I always figure out how their childhood may have been, and yours is exactly as I would have expected. So you were, an equal to the guys, and you always see yourself as equal, if not better, which I love. And would you say your parents were very supportive of you just being like, get out there and do it, never told you to be a girl, etc., or like stay in your lane?
Yeah, and I know what you mean, and that is true actually. I've never thought of it like that. When you say like, yeah, women that are dominating male dominated industries, should I say?
Yes.
You're right. It does go back to the childhood a lot and how they've been conditioned mentally. I do believe that. That's a really good point. I've honestly never thought of that. But yeah, like my parents, they never told me I couldn't achieve something, and they never forced me into anything. And my mum, bless her, she did want a girl. She did have like my 2 older brothers, and they kept trying because they wanted a girl. And then I was born, and I think I was like a little boy. I was just like, I wanted to dress like my brothers. I wanted to do everything my brothers did. So I can imagine that was a bit for her.
I love it. No, credit to your mom and dad for allowing you to be who amazing as you are, and they never made you feel like you couldn't do what what the guys were doing or like your brothers were doing. So yes, it 100% comes back to your childhood, because I always coach high net worth CEOs from different backgrounds, and the women, it always comes down to that. Now, when you see women, so for example, now you've done what were the challenges you came across in a male dominated industry? Because I think you're very unique in that. I mean, I find it very difficult to find other women that are super confident in a male dominated industry. So that was why I was, so obsessed with getting a video done with you, because I feel like you can really help those they always have this, oh, I don't know if I'm good enough, and all this nonsense going on in their head. So what would you say to them? And maybe two things I want to ask you. First, what kind of challenges, if any, did you get in that male-dominated world? And secondly, how did you get over them, and therefore the advice?
Do you know one of the most annoying things that always happened to me when I was coming up in the freestyling world and trying to make a career as a professional? Because when you're first starting out, you're almost reaching out to event managers to try and get them to hire you for shows. Obviously now that's changed for me, but when you're starting out, that's what you do. You're a bit of like a poacher. You're emailing around, you're hoping someone hires you, you're giving it the big talk like, I'm this big professional, I've done loads of shows, and you're just hoping one of them takes it. And as I progressed through that and I got to the point where I was performing at halftime for football matches, the thing that annoyed me the most was event managers would only ever reach out to me when it was a women's football match because they needed a female, they said. It's like, oh, we need a female because it's a female match, we better hire Liv, or see if Liv knows anyone that we can hire. And it's like, no, hire me because I'm a professional and because I'm good at what I do, regardless of gender. And I'd only ever be hired when they needed a female. And I was the same price as the males. Honestly, I sat down and I was like, okay, why is this happening? Am I overpricing myself? No, I'm the same price as the males. Am I underskilled? No, I could be any of these guys they're hiring with my eyes closed. So it was like, why are they doing this? They're just like stereotyping and just presuming because you're a girl, you're not as good. And it didn't matter how good I was, they'd always presume the guy was better. And it annoyed me, it frustrated me. And I think women in every field go through that. You have to be twice as good to get half the respect. But at the same time, I used it to fuel me. And I was like, right, okay, I'm going to get so good that they can't ignore me. I'm going to get so good that they know before I even step on that stage that I'm better than all these guys. So that's what I did. And that was my mission. And I think to any women out there that are suffering with something similar, like they're always just put below the men, just work to be so good that you can't be ignored. I
love that, and I love talking to you about this because I really feel like that's exactly the advice I would give someone. And it's a shame though that we have to work harder. I mean, why do you think, I mean, eventually, and I feel that women need to be the change they want to see, especially with your industry, especially with definitely with me in the banking industry. I get a lot of slack from the men. Some guys hate me for being the way I am. Would you ever say, sorry?
They're intimidated by you, that's all.
I don't, yeah. You know, I've actually had one guy yesterday say, look, lady, stay in your lane. Like, they actually said that. And I was like, wow, you old pathetic man. Like, I find that I have to fight back. And I don't want to be that typical female. And would you say this is advice for female? Would you say, okay, when a guy actually outright tells you, you can't be in this world, what advice would you give them? I mean, would you just say sit back, or would you fight back?
Sit back, never. Never. Make him sit down. Make him sit down and apologize. That's what I say. Never sit back. Someone tells you you can't do something, laugh at them and show them that you can do it 10 times better than them. Don't take that. Never take a knockdown. I've never been told, luckily, that I can't do something. Of course, people have laughed when I've told them my dreams. But in fact, you know what? I probably have been told that I can't achieve things. I remember being in high school, people laughed when I said I'm going to be a professional freestyler. So I don't really care about college. This is what I'm going to do. People laughed and it was like, that's not going to be possible. But that didn't even sink in. Like when you asked me that question then, saying like, have you ever been told you can't do something? My answer was no, but that's incorrect. Of course I've been told that a million times, but did I ever listen to it? No, it never even sunk in. I think if you really want something and you're willing to put the work in and you've set your goals correctly so that you've almost reverse engineered the process to see your pathway, then you will not have one single doubt in your mind because you know what it takes. You can see your steps. You know you're willing to put the work in. So it's a no-brainer. Of course it's going to happen. And I think that's all it takes. Confidence comes from preparation.
I love it. Thank you so much for telling people that, because I feel like they need women like you to stand up. I need more strong females, and you're perfect. And just please be vocal about it and tell women not to take that seat, you know, second place, or to stand up. Because most women, I've found, when they get confrontation like that, they just hide in a shell and they think, okay, I'm just going to ignore it till this stops. But that's exactly what feeds the behavior. And I love how you've just approached it and said, tell him to sit down and, you know, tell him to apologize. I love that. I absolutely love it. And I think
like when you said, if you want the change, you've got to be the change. It's so true. We can sit here and we can talk about taking action and stuff and talk about the changes we want, but until we get out there and actually do it, like, you're great because you're supporting this women empowerment movement, but you've got the respect and the achievements to back that up. If you were just sat here and interviewing people and trying to do this movement, no one's going to listen to you. Why would they listen to you? You're just preaching, but you've actually achieved things. So it's like, okay, she knows what she's on about. Let's listen to her.
Yeah, and you have to, like, you're very right. You have to show the guys that, I mean, I enjoyed being in a male environment because it was just that, well, I mean, I grew up pretty much with the boys and I preferred that actually. So I always used to love being the underdog. Did you ever feel that being an underdog was actually more powerful than being like biggest contender out there? Did you feel like you had a kind of a power or a skill set that they couldn't see coming, and I think it's like a secret weapon?
Yeah, I know what you mean. When you look at it like that, if you're a female within a group of guys and you're walking out in what's a male-dominated sport like freestyle football, then there's no pressure because you're almost expected to be the worst. So when you are the best, it's like, oh, okay. And then you just blow their minds. So yeah, I see what you're coming from with that. That's a good point, yeah.
I want to make sections of this like little standalone memes so that people can hear it from you, not just always me, you know, and I love that.
I love your memes, by the way. I love your little characters. They're so cool. Like, seriously, they're so cool.
Yeah, they were quite hard to create but yeah, they're fun. You should do one. I think it would be great. With a football, my God.
Very difficult. Like, the designer, I can imagine it takes a lot of time.
No, I mean, okay, maybe a week to get the thing right, but when you do it, I think you and a football, and then you can show that you're doing real estate and everything else amazing. I think you should definitely do it. Okay, so I'm happy with the frame shot now, so I can carry on. Where was I? Okay, great. Now I'm thinking, okay, so did you have role models? So when people ask me, what was your role model? I can list a load of guys, and I never had as many female role models. How about you?
Do you know what? I never really had one particular role model or role models. I mean, I took inspiration from different people from different industries, depending on the stage of my life or what I'm trying to achieve at that time. I think the one that stands out to me the most was in 2016, I broke my foot in the final of the World Championships, which was in one instance heartbreaking because I wasn't able to finish the battle and it was the final, which is so close to my dream of being world champion. And I was out for 5 months of injury. But on the other hand, I'd just ranked second in the world at a very young age. So it was like, okay, this is awesome. So I was buzzing with adrenaline. But then I got back to England because that was in Australia, that competition. And I had 5 months ahead of me out on injury. And at this point, I'd literally drifted from my friends because I was focusing so much on my training. I was living, breathing it all day, every day. I'd quit college to do it. It was my whole life. So then to break my foot and be out for 5 months with nothing to do was a bit weird, but it actually turned out to be the best time of my life. It was the hardest by far, but looking back, I would not be where I am without those 5 months, because in those 5 months, I took a step back from my game, took a step back, like almost out of my own reality, and thought, okay, if I hadn't broke my foot in the final, did I deserve to be world champion that year? And little me would have been like, yeah, I worked really hard, I wanted it. But then I matured a bit in that time and I was like, no, I didn't deserve it because I had weaknesses. I could look at my game and I could almost tell myself how I'd beat myself. Like, okay, your upper body tricks, almost non-existent. I'd just exploit them in 1 round and all of this thing. And during that time, when I was really analyzing myself, I started to look at my mindset as well, not just my physical abilities. And that's when I realized, like, I was going into competitions hoping I could win, hoping that I'm good enough, hoping that I don't drop the ball. And then I started to look into YouTube videos on the law of attraction. And that's when Conor McGregor came up. And during these 5 months, I must have watched all of his interviews. Like, I could probably recite them to you now. Like, that guy, his mindset, his confidence, his belief in the law of attraction changed me like completely. It was almost like a light bulb moment during that time. And when I came back, I said, I went from being the kid that said, oh, I hope I don't drop the ball. I hope I do well. I hope I become the best in the world, to I'm already the best in the world. I'm already world champion. I was walking around like I was a world champion, talking like I was the world champion. And the competition to me wasn't a competition. I was going back out the next year to show them that I'm the best and get my trophy. And that's when it all changed for me, because when you want something, there's a saying that your mind has to arrive at the destination before your life does. And that's what I did during that time, thanks to Conor McGregor and all the interviews and the inspiration and the mindset switch that he triggered in me. And I went and I collected what was mine.
I love that. That is so applicable in any world, in business, in definitely sports. And I find it very annoying that people don't get that kind of peak performance training at a younger age. Did you have any of that? Because I mean, your mindset is incredible anyway. And then to get that extra boost in 2016 was just like, wow. I love that you are now. Would you say you're a bit of a mindset junkie? Would you like study that thing, or would you have like more people you follow on that basis?
Absolutely. I think your mindset is as important as your training, whether that's your physical or no matter what industry you're in. You can work so hard, but if your mindset's not right, you're never going to make it, because mindset is everything. Your thoughts become things and all of that. Everyone knows them sayings. Everyone knows them and everyone believes them. But why do people not apply them? Your brain is like the one thing that controls everything. So how can you go through life not working on it? It baffles me now. Like, I work on my mind way more than I work on my skills every single day. And you're right, like, people should have access to this kind of information at such a younger age. And it's why, like, I'm almost pushing for schools. Like, imagine, right, I tweeted this the other day. Imagine if schools, kids get to high school or something, and every single day, all they have to do before they start the day is read 10 pages of a good self-help book or a mindset book or something beneficial. It's only 10 pages. It'll only take like 10, 15 minutes. But imagine over time, the compounding effect of that would be insane.
If they did a mindset like class every day, you know, 1 a.m, just to get them pumped for the day and get them really like focused. You're so right. I mean, I'm so glad
we'd see, not just in terms of the like mental state, but like their intelligence, the future life, like as they grow to become adults. They'd already have the information that unfortunately it takes most of us to live our life to realize. I'm just lucky that because I was trying to reach an elite level in performance, I almost had to elevate my mindset at a young age. But it took me a while, and it took a lot of blood, sweat and tears, and it was difficult, and it took some sacrifices. But now, like, I have all this information in my head that I wish I could have given to myself at a younger age, and that I want to give back to the kids that are struggling or lacking confidence. Because at school, I wasn't confident. I was the kid that hated the teacher picking them out in class, you know, like to answer a question. Hated it. I absolutely hated it. If my tutor group had an assembly, you know, like when you stood at the front of assembly and you got a talk, I'd be off sick that day. I'm not doing that.
Wow.
Now, put me in front of them and I'm fine. Absolutely fine. So I think at school, if you were going to predict who was actually going to become like this level of confidence with what I do, you know, like a TV presenter, you would not have picked me.
Wow.
Not.
That shows so much transformation that's possible. So I hope anyone who's watching this that is thinking, oh no, I'm too quiet, I'm too shy. Look, Liv has just told you straight up that you can reinvent yourself anytime in your life. Would you agree? Would you say anytime you need to focus on her mindset is key, and the way she looks at everything? Would you say you apply that to business now as well? Like
everything.
Isn't it easier?
Like once you know something, you can't unteach yourself it, can you? Yes. And it applies to everything. If you want to be successful in any field, your mindset is the most important thing.
Absolutely. I love it. So Conor McGregor is definitely a mentor or like a inspiration character for you. Who else would you say, living or dead? Like, give us your top 5, because we want to that makes us understand, okay, Liv Cooke, your mindset, and you know, then it makes us understand like how big like a game you really love. Because Conor McGregor is amazing. I agree. He's actually in Monaco, South France a lot. So
yeah, his confidence and his mindset was like my top inspiration when I was training for competitions. I think as a whole, I love Nicki Minaj because like I think music's very influential as well. The kind of music you listen to, you don't realize how much of an impact it'll be making on your life. So if you're putting like negative things into your head or depressing things in, then it will manifest and it will make a difference in your life. Where when I was listening to Nicki Minaj before I was training, and she's like being really confident in her lyrics, she's a boss, she's like dominating a male industry, and it's always dead powerful. Like you put it on and you can't just sit down and shy away. Like when you put Nicki Minaj on, you're up and you're feeling confident and you're pumped and you're gonna smash it. So Nicki Minaj as well, and the fact that she's been so successful in an industry where it was mainly male, she almost opened the way for female rappers. So definitely Nicki Minaj.
Love it.
I'm trying to think who else. In the business world, of course, you can't not mention like your Elon Musk. Like I just love the way the guy goes after what he's passionate about. He wants to build a tunnel. He's building a tunnel in LA. Like, come on. You could think
Isn't it Project Boring or something like that? Yeah, he's so visionary. The guy's so visionary. Yes. Okay.
Yeah,
so
absolutely. He'll think of an idea that could benefit his life and he'll just make it. Like the innovation, like it's so good. I love Elon, and I love like how much he loves his work. Like that's the thing as well. So many people want to be successful and make so much money so that they can retire. That's what they say. Yeah. But the truth is, if you are capable of reaching that level of success, you won't want to retire when you reach it. Because for Elon, for example, he could have retired years and years ago. He's not doing it so that he can do that. He's not doing it to reach a certain amount of wealth. He's doing it because he loves it. He loves it. It's the same with Conor as well. Like Conor could have retired ages ago. He did, but he's going to be coming back. You've just got to have an insane love for your craft to reach elite level. And I don't think you can go into something with a retirement plan, really.
No, because it becomes just like you're doing it for the money, or you're just doing it for an end goal, and there's something else that was actually more important to you. Whereas if you're obsessed with your craft, you're very right, it shows, doesn't it? And someone is never going to stop. So that's when they create real greatness. Yeah. I love those three. We need two more, because I love the top. Yeah. It could be anything. It could be a footballer, it could be another sporting person, it could be, I don't know, anyone who's just been like, even if they're like past, I mean, yeah. Anyone? I
mean, there's obviously my mum. I mean, it's not really a
business. That's amazing. Not everyone uses their parents, but that's great. Is your mum influential and powerful?
Unknowingly, my mum's probably one of the nicest people I know, like selfless and everything. So I always thought if I can grow up and be like half as selfless as her, then I'll be a nice person. So it's like, that's one. I've never really said that though. She's going to watch this back and laugh at me.
No, she's gonna be very happy, and she's a great mom. She wanted a girl, she got it, and look at how you turned out. I'm sure she's super proud of you. So she is.
Another one has to be a girl called Biondo. When I first started discovering the freestyle world, she was a freestyler. She was the first freestyler I ever saw perform live, and it was in London. And I remember being blown away. This was before I was a freestyler. This was when I was a footballer that did tricks, but I didn't realize it was freestyle properly. And I went to London and she was performing, and I was blown away. I was like, how is she lying on her back, juggling the ball in the air with the soles of her feet? I was just blown away. And that's when I said to myself, I want to be able to do that. This is what I want to do. And then I went home and I found her Instagram and I messaged her like, how do I learn this? Where should I start? And 2 days later, she replied, and I was absolutely buzzing because I was just this little kid in my garden trying tricks. And she gave me some advice and I took it like it was gospel. I was in my garden all day trying to get that trick that she told me to get. And then she could see how committed I was. She could see that I wasn't just, a kid just trying to waste her time. Like I was serious about it. I wanted to learn the tricks that she was doing. And she kind of helped me for years and years through the start of my career. And then fast forward a year, she said, Liv, you're actually really, really good now. You need to enter a competition. And I was like, no, I can't do that. Me on a stage, live? No, I can't do that. And she was like, come on, just do it. You're never going to feel like you're ready. Just do it. So I was like, oh, okay. So it was only a video entry to start with. So I entered my video and I got through and I got picked to the top 8. So I traveled down to London to compete, and Laura qualified as well. We get there and then the drawing names out of a hat to see who battles first. And I drew Laura's name. So she inspired me to get into freestyle. She guided me. She convinced me to do my first competition, and then became the first person ever that I was going to battle. I think it was like 2 years into freestyle at this point.
God, what a test for you. It's almost like you're battling your mentor.
Absolutely. And I was so nervous. I felt sick. I came off the stage. I didn't even remember what I'd done. When you're so overcome with adrenaline, you come off afterwards and you're like, can't remember a single thing that just happened. But I won. I won 3-0, and I was blown.
How did you feel?
She cried, she was so happy. She'd seen how much I'd worked for this. She'd seen me go from being nothing to being like an international contender very fast. I don't think anyone had reached that level that fast before, but it's because I became obsessed with it all day, every day, insane to it. And she was just so proud of me. She became like my older sister.
That is so nice to, she was still supportive after that, because some people wouldn't have been, I'm sure, if they were, really.
It'd be hard. A young kid coming up and beating you after you introduced them to the sport and told them to compete.
I know.
I don't know how I'd feel. I like to think that I'd feel proud as well. And I think that's one thing about Laura. She's got a heart of gold, and I am just very glad that I met her, and I'm very grateful for everything, and I'll never forget it.
Oh wow, that she definitely deserves top 5. I can see now why your top 5 is so. Yeah, I love that top 5, including your mom and Laura and the other 3. Amazing. You know, that's wow. I can see so much more about how you think now based on them. So absolutely love it. Now, what made you go into property? Because I love that you have gone from doing incredible, like really glamorous world as well, TV, etc. What made you do property? I want to know the story.
You think the TV world and the freestyle world is glamorous because you see us on TV, you know.
Yeah. Well, you look so glam, so obviously it is glamorous.
Oh, it's far from it. Absolutely far from it. But yeah, I absolutely love what I do. Every single day is different. But I got into real estate. I've always been a fan of the business world. That kind of thing has always interested me. But I'd never acted on it. And then I had quite, like, my income was doing pretty well from everything that I was doing. And I started to follow, because I always watched YouTube videos of like Elon, Gary V, because I think you don't have to be in the business world to benefit from it. Like, I think everyone should have a basic knowledge of financial and business and all of that. It's just essential for life, whether you own your own business or not. So I've always been into it, and the things I can learn in business, I applied to my commercial career, because I was in the business world in a way, because I was managing myself.
Absolutely.
Manage yourself and negotiate prices, work out your expenses, your tax, all of that was small scale business. So I was following like Gary Vee and getting advice from him, especially because a lot of his content is about marketing and social media, and that's the foundations of my career. So I was very much in the business world. And then I went on from Gary Vee to Elon Musk to Grant Cardone. And Grant Cardone is very real estate focused. So I went from just watching Gary Vee for content reasons to Elon because I liked his business mindset and I could learn a lot, to Grant about real estate. And I was like, okay, this guy, okay, yeah, I like it. And then I obviously had the income coming in. And then I realized when I started to read more books on real estate, because the more I learned about real estate, the more I loved it. I think there's a million ways that you can get involved in it, and it's exciting. It's almost like a new game that you can move different parts. So it's like a chess game. I like it.
Very, yeah.
But then I realized after reading a few books that the US market and the UK market are completely different. So I'd spent hours and hours watching Grant Cardone for no reason. So I had to start again. But yeah, then I became friends with Samuel Leeds, who you know as well.
Yeah, Samuel's really nice guy, isn't he?
He's absolutely lovely, isn't he?
He's such a genuine character. You know, I like his energy. He's so funny as well. He's so loud.
Yeah, he is. And you know what? I thought he was just like that on videos, and then I met him in person, and he's the exact same. His videos are not fake. They're all one take as well. He never second take. That's impressive.
That's very good. Yeah.
Yeah. He's very engaging on camera. He's very natural.
Very funny. And actually great knowledge. Yeah, just great. So I love that you came across him, and then he became your mentor effectively and working with you in property. How's that all going now?
Yeah, so I started to get into real estate, read a few books, decided, okay, I love this. I want to go forwards with it. And of course, it'll create the wealth that I want long term, because my career, I'm earning pretty well, but I want financial freedom. I want wealth. I want to be comfortable so that everyone around me can live nicely. We're safe. And, you know, who doesn't want to quadruple the wealth?
Of course. I love that you've got a good relationship with money. Again, some women sometimes feel like, oh, I don't need that much. They try and play the small game. I find that so frustrating. I want more women.
Right as well. It's women, because I've noticed as well, guys can be flashy with money. In my industry, if a guy is wearing like a diamond chain worth about £100,000, driving a Lamborghini, oh, he's cool, he's doing well.
Yeah.
A female does it. It's like, oh, she's flashy, I don't like her, let's not hire her, let's not work with her. Why is that still a thing? It's the same. Like, I think it was Nicki Minaj actually that was doing an interview, and she said, we need more women rapping about materialistic things, sexual things, and all things of this sort, because only men are doing it. And it's a problem when females do it. Why? Why is it?
Yeah, no, we need to break the stigma of like, oh, women can't play that game as well. And yeah, 100%, I fully agree. Then I hope you're doing all the loud stuff too. I love your Balmain jacket, by the way. Oh no, you were wearing Christian Dior. I love it. I was like, I love it. She spends money on clothes. She's good. Yeah, love it.
You know what? We work hard. Why do we work hard? To earn money. And what can money do? It can make you happier. If you want that jacket and you're going to feel more confident in that jacket, or you're going to smile more in that jacket, get that jacket. You only live once. Do it.
You're self-made. You've got to really shout out from the rooftops. You're not a rich husband's wife or none of this nonsense. You're a self-made female, and you should be just killing it and showing the world that this is how it should be, you know. And I love that. So
you'd be surprised, like not many people have that attitude, and I think it
what do they do?
The people that get jealous and are like, oh, don't show off, like that's showing off, that's being cocky, you're rubbing it in people's faces. They're the kind of people that will always remain at the level they're at. If, however, they have the attitude like you, where you're like, yeah, you do that, then I think that says a lot about you, and you can tell that everything you have, you've worked for, and you're supportive of that. And
I'm encouraging women to be louder about, and not, you know, not, just shout up for themselves and say, look, this is me, I'm gonna grab that deal, I'm gonna make this money myself, and just live the high life, you know. And I was like you, I was successful young, and I used to get stopped by the police when I was driving my flashy Aston Martin or something, and they're like, is this your car or is it your, you know, and for God's sake, you know, it was ridiculous. I mean, I was very flash at one point. I have toned it down only because I feel like I'm too old to be too flashy, but trust me, when you go to South of France and Monaco, that's why Conor McGregor's here, because he can be super flash here, and it's just normal.
Right. You know what? In 3 days with a Lamborghini, I was pulled over 3 times. And I swear it was just because I was a young girl in the car. I heard it on the radio, and they'd always say the same thing. It's flagged up as not insured. And I'd say, well, I am insured. And I heard it on the radio and said, yep, young girl in Lamborghini, she's fine. I was like, what? You pulled me over because I'm a young girl and whatever. Anyway.
I used to have the police follow me and run the plates. Is this really your car? You know, they thought maybe it's not. And they were shocked when they were like, oh, it's your car, you know, and you are insured on this. Yeah, you're right. So I love what you're doing. You need to do more of it. In fact, UK is the worst for being loud. Would you agree?
I think the UK's got a weird culture. Like, if you're in America and you're driving a Lamborghini down the road, people are like, oh, that's nice. I wonder what that person does. You do that in the UK, for some reason, the mindset's different. It's like, oh, they're probably you know what I mean? Like, it's almost like them assumptions that just because you have money, you're not a nice person.
And if you're good looking like you, and if you're a glamorous female, they're going to assume that you've been up to no good to get that, you know?
Oh, yeah, probably. But, yeah, no, I think there is that around it. And I think as well that it's the stigma around money. Like, people think money turns you into a bad person. I don't think it does. I think money magnifies your personality and gives you a platform. Like, if you're a horrible person and you get money, yeah, you're probably going to do more horrible things. If you're a good person and you get money, think of all the good you can do, like the difference you can make. Like, I spend a lot of money monthly doing giveaways to put smiles on kids' faces and give them confidence. Like, I dread to think how much money I've spent creating footballs. So I created a brand called Win. And it's the motto is like winning starts within. You know, a win, you might not get that trophy, but as long as you've developed as a person, you're winning. And that's kind of the aim around it, just putting smiles and confidence in kids. And I created footballs, and the first thing I wanted to do was like, can I sell them, make it a business? But I started to see the reaction. If like I signed the ball and give it to a kid, and they like, it made their day. I had people crying. I was getting sent videos of kids crying because they opened my box and it was a football from me. And that feeling is completely different. I was like, this isn't a business. This is a mission that I want to do. So I stopped. Well, I do still sell them, but all the proceeds, not just the profit, all the revenue from the sales goes back into supporting, you know, the startup, the grassroots game. So it goes straight back in. So it costs me a lot. Footballs aren't cheap to get made, especially the quality that I do, and I import them.
Wow.
In worldwide. It costs thousands and thousands a month really when it's up and going, but that's something I love doing, and that's something I feel like is a responsibility.
It's your legacy. You're really you've already got legacy going. You've started that, and I was going to ask you actually, what is the legacy? So how do you want people to remember Liv Cooke? I know you're so young and you should never think like this, but I always make it whenever I'm talking to someone that is doing incredible things. I said, well, how do you want to be remembered? How do you want people to think of you when you're gone?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I think it'll be bigger than me. I don't think when I'm gone it'll be Miss Liv Cooke's videos or Miss Liv Cooke kind of thing. I'd like to have left things like, I want to make finding football pitches for kids in the UK is so difficult. They have to pay like £100, £200 an hour to use it. What kid can afford that? So we've got the FA preaching that they want to increase participation and football's for everyone. Yeah, it's about £100 to use a pitch. So football's not for everyone, football's for the rich. How is that fair? Kids don't have that kind of money. And if they do, it's still stupid. Even I won't pay that much. I could afford that much, but I'm not going to pay that much. I'll go to a page around the corner. So I want to change things like that. I want to open up doors and create chances for kids to obtain the knowledge, first of all, that changed my life and my mindset. And also have accessibility to facilities that I didn't have when I was younger. So I think if I can do things like that, I am working on a project that I can't tell you much about, but I'll be bringing something out next year that I think will cater to that first point, and I'm sure you'll be one of the first to know. But I'm working hard on it. It's tiring, but it's going to be worth it. So I don't know, I think I just want to leave something bigger than me behind. It's not about me.
Yeah, but I definitely want you to change how women look at all the industries that you're in, and I certainly want you to leave a legacy that makes women think, you know what, because Liv Cooke stood up for herself, now I as a female will also stand up for myself. Like, that's huge, you know, because you're doing it already. And whether, I know you see yourself as equal and and better than many men, but for sure you're inspiring tons of women and guys, of course, naturally. But it's so important because this pay gap issue and whatever, it's got to close, and you were very good at getting the money that you wanted. So I love that. Absolutely love it. And actually, talking about that, women, what do you think about girls football?
Girls football, I think it's neglected more than the guys. I've played it all my life. I'm very much involved in football every single day, the industry. I know it back to front. And I think women are always put second to the men. And it's annoying. It's getting better. It's still got a long way to go, though.
Because a Netflix show with that lady who did the UK-based female, but she was a coach for the US girls, ladies football. I think she won, the Olympics or something like that. But I love that. But another thing I would think, have you ever thought about setting up your own sports agency?
Well, I did start. So when I was first getting into the commercial world, I noticed that a lot of the girls didn't really know like the business side of it, so they weren't getting any work. They were very good, training very hard, they were very good performers, but companies were not coming to them to hire them, but they weren't able to go to companies and ask them to hire them in a way. So I thought, right, okay, I need to create something that helps these girls and helps the female scene. So I started an agency called Girls Around the World, and it was essentially just helping all the girls. It was a bridge between commercial work and female freestylers, and it was going really well. I did have to close it to focus in on my training, because when you want to be the best in the world at something, that's
no distraction. Yes, but I actually feel, and what do you think to this? I think that you doing the agency for the women's is one thing, but I think that you should set up a men's agency, but being a female leader. That's what's going to change the game.
Yeah, so last year I reopened the agency, rebranding it as Winfluence, like Win Influence, and it was it is influencers and performers. So I do have that agency. It is doing pretty well. It's difficult at the moment because of COVID, considering a lot of our work is sending freestylers to performances. So then events aren't really going on at the minute, but we're still doing a lot with influencers, and it's going pretty well. My focus isn't there as much at the minute. Of course, I've got someone running it day to day, so it doesn't take all my focus, but it's difficult juggling the different things, especially as my properties interest has grown as well, and I'm spending a lot of time with Samuel Leeds and working in the real estate industry. It's hard to be doing that, my TV career, my freestyle career, social media career.
It's so much.
Like, it is too much. It is.
It's a plate spinning exercise. You can get one thing when the property is going to be the easiest one to systemize, because once you bulk them, they're going to be like easy to just, depending on your strategy, of course. But then you can just, I think you really need to, because I was actually approached by many sports agencies, because I'm in a male-dominated world with funds and finances and everything, and they were like, can you set up an agency and we would work with you, because we know that you can be marketable. And I was thinking, well, I know nothing about football. I mean, I loved it, I love the sport, but I was like, I want a female ambassador for, and we were getting loads of the youth teams coming up, the new signing from the London clubs, and they were like, we want to change our sports agency, because when he gets the next big signing, we'd like to go through you. And I was like, this could be fun, you know. And I've dealt with many Premiership footballers over my time with funds and management, etc. And I've seen how they've been, neglected, or sometimes the money is really good. So I think you should just go big, and you have to do the sports agency. Like, you need to do it, and you need to be, because I hate the way the male industry in that football world, they're like, oh yeah, just because you're a woman, they won't take you seriously unless you've got something in the industry. And I was like, yeah, that's true. But to change the culture, they need someone like you, Liv. They really do.
That's a good point. It's a good. I'm pretty busy at the minute, but it's definitely, no, you are right. I think whether it's me or another female, we need someone that comes in and just wows people, not because they're a female, but because they're very good at what they do. And happen to be a female.
Yeah.
The ability needs to come first, then the gender. And that's when we'll see real change. But it is happening. We're seeing a lot of incredible female coaches coming through and managers. Yes. So slowly it is happening. And of course, the women's football game is getting better. The funding's coming. COVID, it has took a knockback, but I think give it a few more years, depending on the economic crash and stuff. But hopefully women's football can come out of this stronger in a few years.
Perfect. So last but not least, what advice would you give to people right now complaining that COVID's ruined everything, and they're just sitting at home, either redundant and furloughs ended, and they're just like, okay, I don't know how to make money, and I want to be like all these great people, but I don't know what to start. What would you say?
I'd say, well, what have you done? Because if you sat at home saying, I want to do this, I want to be this, it's not fair, COVID, just moaning, then you deserve to be sat there and not achieving anything. What have you done? Get up and get to work. Find what you're passionate about, first of all. And if you don't know what you're passionate about, explore your interests. That's the way to find your passion. See, if you want to do something, go and try it, and it will lead to something. Every interest is for a reason, and you'll find what you're passionate about. When you find what you're passionate about, figure out how you can become the best at it. If you are just aiming to be good at something, it's not good enough. You're not going to make it. When you find the right thing, aim to be the very best in the world. And even if you don't make it as the best in the world, you'll make it to a good level. So find what you're passionate about, aim to be the best, work hard, make the sacrifices, stay dedicated, and just try to solve problems for the world as well. Like, maybe, I know it's like typical, isn't it? Everyone says start a business by solving a problem. That's easier said than done. And a lot of the problems in the world at the minute are a bit too big for one person sat in the bedroom to try and solve. But I think if you're working hard, you've got a hard work ethic and a good heart, you can make it. You just got to get out there and get started. It's never been easier to be successful. Like, I'm looking at your video now and all them books behind you, how much knowledge is probably packed in them. Yeah. They're so accessible. You can get it on Amazon next day delivery, and you can get a book about almost anything.
Yeah.
And a book's so powerful. Like, when I started reading all these real estate books, I was thinking, wow, it's took this guy 20 years of blood, sweat and tears to learn all of this knowledge. And I've just read it in a few hours.
I know.
That is insane. And as soon as that clicked in my head, that's when I started reading so much by people that are successful or at the top of an industry that I want to break into. So if you're sat at home and you're moaning that COVID's done this, life's not fair, your income's gone down, your wife's annoying you, what are you doing about it? Don't just sit there and moan. Don't just be on the sofa eating ice cream. Get up, educate yourself, work hard, take action, and make some progress.
I love it. You're such an inspiration. I love females like you. I love any human being, let alone being female like you. And it's just so contagious, that kind of positivity. And you know what, please just carry on doing this. And I would love to see you one day, mentoring people. I mean, that's how I got into it. I was just focused on business first. And then after a while, I thought, you know what, we need to be that change as well. And you're doing it already. You're already influencing so many people. You're mentoring them indirectly at the moment, but you definitely need to do it more actively in the future, because there's so much wisdom in you, and you're so young and you've got so far to go yet. You're going to do incredible.
I'm more than happy to. Like, I feel like every time someone comes to me and they want help or advice or they've got questions, I'm more than happy to help. I love it, because I like seeing the difference you can make. Like, you give them one piece of advice and watch them take it and flourish. So if someone came to me and they were serious and I could benefit them, if they came to me with a proposal and I was like, I'm not the best person for this, I'd be very honest and I'd put them to someone that is. Yeah. But if I genuinely could help them a lot, then of course I would. Of course. Yeah. I think that's just something that you should do when, look, I've got everything I want in my life. I've achieved every major goal that I've set myself. Of course, more have formed and I've got a lot more to do.
Yeah.
But as a kid, all the goals I wrote down, I've achieved. So I'm crazy grateful for everything I have. And now I think it is a big case of giving back and helping, because that's where I get a lot of my fulfillment now. I
Yeah.
achieved everything I want. So what makes me feel good now is helping others. So if someone does want me to mentor them and I feel like I can benefit them and the right person to do so, yeah, I'd be more than happy to.
That's amazing. You're a natural leader. You're a natural mentor, coach to others. So, you know, that skill set, please use it, guys. Use Liv in the best way possible, and just follow her. And she's all over social media. She's incredible. She's just great. I want to see more women like her. I'm just so honored to have you. And we're going to make so many memes out of this video because every snippet is so powerful. We're going to make sure that everyone really sees that women have that potential to be bigger, you know, if not the same, but definitely have the aim to think bigger than a guy. And I don't want them to feel like they can't achieve it. So thank you so much for sharing all your wisdom, your energy. Like, you're fantastic. And I wish you so much success in all your projects, real estate, the other things, and obviously the TV career, etc. Everything is amazing. Anywhere I can help you, of course I will. And you're working with great people anyway. So, you know, it's amazing.
You are a boss. Everything you've just said that you want people to see, you are walking proof of that. You're smashing it. You've been smashing it for years. You've got a heart of gold and your content's incredible. So what you're doing is changing lives. I can promise you that. So yeah, it's people like you that are doing the good and that will make the impact in the long term. So no, thank you. And thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And we'll have to check in again soon, because I enjoyed chatting to you. It's nice when you're on the same wavelength as someone, especially a female boss in this world.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. I'll do the outro at the end, but you're such a star. Honestly, fantastic. Yeah, I'm so excited about what's going to come up for your future. And I didn't know about the agency thing, but that's incredible. So you're so good. So yeah, please be loud, because England needs it. They need people to be loud because I feel like
get a bit of hate at first, but I think in time they'll see that it was the right thing.
Yeah, of course. You're always going to get that. I should have asked you about the hate, actually, and how to deal with that. Maybe we can just say one last thing. How do you deal with hate, online hate? Because being a successful female, you're kind of against the grain so much. What advice would you give to other women? Because they're the ones who they can't deal with this thing very well. They don't know how to deal with online hate. I've had loads. I know Samuel Leeds, you've known, has got loads. And like, there's so much of it everywhere for people that are kind of loud on social media. So how would you say is the best way to deal with this?
Do you know what? I just feel sorry for people that are hating on social media, because I can't imagine how low they must be and how bitter and unfulfilling their life must be for them to get fulfillment out of hating on somebody else. Like, what do they achieve from that? Nothing. So they're wasting their own time. They're going out of their own way to put negativity out there that'll end up going back to them, because everything comes in full circle. So I just don't, I can't get my head around it. I can't, no matter how much I try, put myself in their shoes. And I think that says a lot. I've never seen one successful person hating online. So
I agree. It's such a venomous thing, and you've got to be such a low energy to do that. So thank you so much for confirming.
I think it's hard as well, though, because I can sit here and say I feel sorry for them, but when I'm reading a comment that might be a dig about something I'm already insecure about, it can affect you. As much as, you know, we can sit here and we can say we're used to it, we just ignore it, we feel sorry for them. Of course, there are going to be days when you might feel like crap already, and you're reading all these comments and they're just digging at you and digging at you. And I remember my Twitter blowing up one day, and it was just so much negativity because one of my tweets was interpreted incorrectly. I swear I meant no harm by it. I meant no offense by it. It was genuinely interpreted incorrectly. And I can see how they interpreted it like that. But it's horrible. I don't know why people feel like they have the right to hate on someone and be that nasty to them. And you just gotta almost ignore it. I know that's easier said than done, but just come off it. Like, when my Twitter was blowing up, I don't know why, I kept going back on and reading it all. And it's weird. It's almost like an addiction. I didn't want to be reading it. I didn't like reading it, but I felt like I needed to know what they were saying. So I think that's when you just need a bit of willpower to just sign off, go and do something fun and cheer yourself up.
Yeah, and I think one thing I would also add to that, and I feel like what you've said is so powerful, because obviously when you've got a following as big as yours, it's inevitable, you're going to get it. People will misunderstand something. But a piece of advice I always give to anyone who's the reason they're scared of going online, women and men, but more so women, is they are scared of this. They're like, oh no, someone doesn't like me. But then I have to remind them that they don't actually know you. They know a version of you, you know? And the only people that actually know you are your mom, dad, siblings, husband, partner, whatever, your kids. That's the people that should only matter. Their opinion is the only thing that matters. So I think it worked for me, because once I realized that, you know what, I don't mind them hating me because they don't know me. And you know what, maybe they have some version of something that makes them feel that way and they're allowed to, that's cool. And I just became really objective and realized that version of me is not the real me, but the real me is liked and loved by the people that I care about, you know. And that's when you just keep your circle really close, and you know that your validation comes from, first of all, yourself, and then the people that are really, really important to you. They're the only ones that matter when it comes to how they like you or not. That's it. The rest.
I think you hit the nail on the head. The people around you and in your close circle need to be very understanding of you and honest with you in many ways, because you can have people around you that are like, yeah, you're doing really well, that's a good thing, but you also need people that are going to be honest and tell you when you're out of line. And I think that's hard, especially when you've reached a level of success like yours, really, because you might get a lot of yes people around you, but you need them people that are going to snap you back into line and be like, no, you're out of order there.
You're very right. And the way I've had that, I've got a couple that keep close to me, best friends that I've had for a long time. And the reason they can still, and I trust they can still do that, is because they're not part of that social media world. They're very disconnected from it, and they just, you know, we never talk about what I do. They just know me as me, or they don't engage in the whole hype or whatever. So that's very hard to achieve sometimes, but yeah, you're right. You can get too many yes people otherwise, but you have to understand which ones are genuine. Like the new friends are never going to be as genuine as, you know, your real family around you and the friends.
It's interesting finding the right balance, because it's like what you said, a lot of people are scared to go online. Like, for example, when I started first talking on my Instagram, like Instagram stories, when you first start doing something like that, you feel really awkward and it's really weird. And this was back before I was doing presenting or anything like that. So it was new to me. And I was at school at the time and my friends had just ripped me about it. Like, it was only banter and it was fun and lighthearted. And I took it in a jokey way and stuff, but subconsciously it did affect me, because I didn't then want to go and do it again that evening. And it was like the start of my career. So it was like, then the school holidays happened and it was almost a time away from them where I went back on my stories and I was doing the stories and stuff, and I got better. And then come the end of the holidays, when I went back to school, I was really confident at talking on my stories, and the stuff that I was saying was really relevant to what I was doing for my career. So I was really good at it. So I think a big key is that if you want to start something new, or you're learning, because when you're learning, you're starting something new, and it can be nerve-wracking, and you are going to be bad at it at first. You're going to go through the awkward phase. So I think at that point, it's about stepping away, maybe a little bit, from your friends and society, because they'll be judging you as you. It's like, oh, why are you doing that? You don't do that. Why are you wearing that? You don't wear that. That's not like you. You wouldn't do that. They'll be saying things like that. And although that's not harmful and they're not saying it from a negative place, it will affect you. So sometimes when you're innovating or when you're trying something new, just step away from people, have some time alone to really learn and understand yourself. Like, I think Google and quite a lot of big companies like Apple do it a lot. When they have innovators that are creating a new product, they send them away to an isolated location. It's called skunk methodology.
Yeah.
They'll send them there completely like out of touch with society and what's going on in the world, just so that they're not influenced in their innovation, and they create something completely new. Then they come back and they drop it to the market. So it's like you're influenced so much by what's around you. Sometimes you need to step away.
To get that complete originality. Completely makes sense. And it's actually in one of my hedge fund books I've told people about. So that same concept is even in the financial world and insurance.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I applied it to my talking on Instagram, and Google do it for their products, and you do it for hedge fund and financial. Like, it applies to everything. Judgment can be so powerful. So just make sure the people around you are supportive completely of you. Like we were saying, they need to, if you're rubbish at something when you're starting out, they shouldn't be telling you you're rubbish. They should be looking and helping you how you can get better faster. They shouldn't be saying, why are you doing that? They should be like, okay, cool. What can we do with that?
Yeah. No, I love it. Very good advice. That's so powerful, especially because COVID and the online business, like everyone's trying something online now. And I think it's great. I think everything should try, and there should be something online. Obviously, things like property are still always going to be physical, but there is so much scope, and that's a massive hurdle that you've helped people with. So thank you so much for that, Liv.
No, thank you. And I meant what I said. We should do this more often and check in and stuff.
Of course.
I think there's two females collaborating as well in this space, especially with my real estate work. I think it's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, my background is property. I don't know if you've been aware, but that's how I started. I started off with, I've got like a huge portfolio in England, and in France I haven't got as much, but here it's just different law.
You're a boss. What do you not do?
Life was simple. So I did like I love sport, but I wasn't really encouraged like you. But I was more of an academic, and I just wanted to be a business person. That's actually what I enjoyed doing as a kid. And then I did medical professional, so I was like an optician. So I went to university, did the whole thing, and I thought, can't think of anything more boring. So I was really good I was a really good optician, but I really very quickly I was like, this is boring as hell. Then I went to property networking group. Samuel knows the people I learned from because he's younger than me, and you're obviously a lot younger. But Samuel knows all my mentors. I started in 2004 with property, bought loads of no money down, and like the Mortgage Express type deals, that different before 08. Like it was so creative. Like I was making so much money and it was so good. And then in the crash, I was still positive, cash flow, everything was really good. And that's when I started turning to financial trading. I used to supply auction houses as well. So yeah, I used to be in a lot in Birmingham, London, Manchester maybe once, but I used to supply some of the auctions. So I used to have an option agreement on properties, and I would so I didn't even own them, as you know, and you just control them, put them in auction, make a minimum 10K, and we had like 42 going through every month. So it was like, wow, it's fun, So wow. Yeah, it was.
I followed your Instagram and everything, and I love everything that you do, and you share a lot of other people's success. Yes. But I haven't actually seen a video on your journey.
Yeah, I guess I should do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's incredible. Everything you've just said then, I'm like, oh my gosh, this woman, what can she not do?
Well, you know what? Thank you. I used to talk about me a lot more when I started, and then when I see myself like, when Alex Ferguson is my favorite coach. I should have asked you who your favorite coach is, but Alex Ferguson and like Jose Mourinho and people like that. And
have you seen the Alex Ferguson 6 Secrets to Success on Netflix?
I think I've seen everything Alex Ferguson, so I'm sure. Is that the one where he's speaking in Harvard and then?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that as soon as that came out. He's incredible. I've got every book of his, and I kind of position. Sorry.
Are his books good?
Yeah, amazing. So leading. And then Alex Ferguson, there's one to Alex Ferguson and one, they're all very relevant for business because it's all the way he coached. I mean, I learned so much about business from him. It's incredible how much you take away from, because the way he looked at Ronaldo and how he, for example, he's most people, and I learned this in business, like they get really annoyed when their top performer leaves. And I learned from Alex Ferguson that he was so grateful to have Ronaldo for 4 years. He got 5 out of him, but he said, someone that good is going to go. Like he has to go somewhere else. He's going to go to the next best thing. And that's how I approach when I grow my staff really high. And after I let them become like better than how they are right now. And they naturally will want to go somewhere else or move to set up their own business. And I'm never resentful, but I learned that from Alex. So, when I do what I do now, I think I want to create those number 7 shirts. That's what I try and do, So
that's amazing. I love that. I absolutely love that. There's a saying as well, isn't there? I think it was Elon Musk, and he says that he said to his CEO, it might not be him actually, but he said to his COO, we need to train our staff. And he said, but what if we spend all this money training them and they leave? He said, what if we don't spend the money training them and they stay? Yeah. And that's kind of similar to what you're saying. Like you want to train them so that they're so good that they probably are going to move on. But that's just what it is, that you create elite.
Yeah. And the reason I put a lot of my student success out is because people pay a lot of money for my mentorship, but I want to show them that is so worth it. That's because we 10x there. I mean, I've had students come in making 20K a month, then they're on 100K, aiming for now 200K a month, so that's over an 18-month period with me. And I really coach them mindset before anything else, and then the business side. And I've done it for Credit Suisse. I train bankers, mindset stuff again. So it's super fun. It's super fun.
Awesome. You need to do a full video of your journey, almost like a documentary style. Seriously, no, I'm being serious. You do. Everything you've achieved is just insane, and the fact that you've not just done it once, but you've done it consistently. Excellence isn't just luck. You've not just had one stroke of luck with one business, or you got lucky in the 08 dip. You didn't. Like this continued.
I've been through like loads of like people, your friends trying to sue you and stuff like that, so I've seen the horrible side of money too.
Like, gotta protect them assets.
Yeah, absolutely. And I teach that now. I teach everybody to really protect their money, because I learned the hard way. So of course I'd love to collaborate with you in any way future. I really do, and I always have this combo. I struggle to have women that are just killing it in my life, because they always, if you come to Monaco, and you definitely, and I'll treat you out here because this is my territory now. I love it.
You're in Monaco now then?
Yeah, I'm actually in Cannes. I've got two places. I've got one in Monaco and I've got one near Cannes. So I love being near Saint-Tropez, near Cannes. Like, it's just like the bigger houses here, and I've got the sea right in front of me, the mountains. I can show you. Let me show you this.
Living.
Yeah, this is the mount. I don't know if you can see the mountains.
Oh no, I can just see white.
Okay, right, and there's a sea there, but it's beautiful. Today's a bit cloudy, so it's a bit wet, but yeah, it's just, I will send you on WhatsApp pictures of how amazing this is. It's just stunning. I fell in love with it. I've always visioned living by the sea, and my office overlooking the sea, and I've got like mountains there. It's just,
you live in the dream, and you know what, you deserve it. You do. There's some people in life that you're just happy that they're successful and they've made it. Like Bill Gates is one, because look at what he's doing with his fortunes. He's doing great for the world.
Amazing.
You're the same. I think I'm very, very happy that you're successful and that it's continuing and you're carrying on, because you're smart.
I got so much to do yet. But yeah, you've got to come to Monaco and you'll see what I mean, because I was really excited to meet women there, and I was like, okay, I must be great women, focus. They are awful. Like, they're all married to someone wealthy, and
it's one of them.
It's not nice. The vibe is like the men are different, obviously, they're like doing their own thing, but so many women are just so like just very competitive, and I think I think it's very refreshing to have someone like you in a network that I know, and female wise is absolutely killing it. So
yeah, definitely. Well, I'm excited to keep in touch, because you're a boss.
Thank you so much.
I'd be honoured to work with you in any capacity, because you smash it with whatever you do. So staying in touch is important to me, especially with people like you.
Of course, yeah. Well, have you sent? And I don't know if I have got your details. Okay, so when you send me a message or anything, then I will be in touch.
Yeah, I'll do it straight after this.
Thank you. Speak to you soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.